And there we go. We're introduced to our first modern-day Batman in film, Michael Keaton. Guys, were you a Michael Keaton guys, Batman? Did you enjoy Michael Keaton?
Oh,
Batman?
absolutely. Michael Keaton all the way. I mean, this was the first time that he came out in black. There was no Robin. He was a solo, didn't need him. Michael Keaton all the way, which was kind of shocking because to me, he was funny. I think of Beetlejuice, Mr. Mom, and I'm like, wow, he's going to be Batman? And then he came and he killed it. Absolutely killed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree too. I mean, I really enjoy watching him as Batman, and during the '80s, I mean, everybody was a fan of Michael Keaton because of he did some great work. But once, like you said, Dave, it was mostly comedic work. So this just really showed his range as an actor. And I thought,
how about Ray? How about Jack? Did you like Jack's performance as the Joker?
Listen, I love Jack and everything. I mean, yeah, I did because up to that point, all I'd ever known was I was a big fan of this '60s TV show. And I love Cesar Romero as the Joker back in the day. To see Jack Nicholson kind of, in my way, he kind of preserved a little bit of that, the Cesar Romero version, and then of course he made it, Jack's version, which is just cool too. But yeah, I mean, once again, I mean, you have two really, really great actors playing off of each other, and that's you usually get some great magic there, and I think we got to see some of that there.
I think the film, too, and I'll bring up JC's comments in 1 second, JC, so you guys can comment about what you're seeing now. I know we're all 80s fans. Jack Nicholson, I think Batman in 89 was more about the Joker. If you listen to the dialogue, if you watch the scenes, it's more about the background of who the Joker was. And I think Jack Nicholson, to this day, in my opinion, he captured the essence of who the Joker was. I know that later on we saw a darker element, a darker side. Heath Ledger gave us that. An amazing performance, undoubtedly. But I think Jack Nicholson kept the role as close as he possibly could to the comic books back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. I think Jack did a home run, guys, as the Joker.
Oh, absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
From beginning to end, the whole film was definitely comic book-esque visually and everything. It was a great,
including the Prince soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember here in Atlanta at Six Flags Over Georgia, after the movie came out, and for a long time they ran the Batman, kind of stunt show here, and they had the car from the film, and all the characters dressed as, and it was a really, really cool show to go watch because they really they brought the movie actually to life, in a theme park atmosphere. It was really, really a cool show to see.
We have JC. Michael Keaton was the best Batman, not counting Adam West. Who could ever dismiss Adam West? Never. JC, his first movie was Ron Howard's directorial debut, Night Shift. Great underrated movie. Night Shift is funny.
Night Shift is great.
1982. You're right about that, JC Farina. Joel Bateman, my favorite Batman is Christian Bale. Sure. Jose Bizaldi, number one, Jack. Yeah, it's the Joker. You guys are giving Lucinda agrees with Jack. Let's continue on as we march through some movie clips of the 80s. And we're just going to riff. We're going to talk about what we see live over here. Moving on, we are going to move on to the next film as I cue it up. This is another Michael Keaton film, Beetlejuice.
Oh, man.
Yeah. What a far-out film. When it came out, again, it was striking.
How do you market a film like this, guys?
You put Michael Keaton in it, and you let him go. You wind him up, and you let him go. I mean, one of the greatest physical comedian actors of all time. I mean, he was able to display it in this film. It was such a unique film of its day when it came out. Everybody talked about it forever. People still talk about it today. I know friends of mine that dress up like all these characters every Halloween. But this is one of Michael Keaton's one of his best performances.
Maybe a magnum opus. I mean, it was great. It really was a great film. And I will say this, the same year this came out, there was a film that was a bit unheralded. But in terms of just character study, he also, a film that he was in as the star came out this year was called Clean and Sober, an amazing film by Michael Keaton. But the same year that comes out, of course, Beetlejuice comes out. Alec Baldwin is here, a very young Gina Davis as well, a great supporting cast. And of course, if you say the word Beetlejuice 3 times, you summon the man, the myth, and the legend himself. And I think we're about to get our first look into Beetlejuice. It took a while till we actually saw him in the film, if you guys remember. It took a while. Here we go. Here's Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. Yeah. A lot of people weren't even privy to the fact that it was Michael Keaton, especially without the internet back then or YouTube. An amazing performance. Would you guys consider this a performance that really no one else can replicate? I can't peg anybody else to play this role. To be honest.
No, I think somebody like Jim Carrey would have taken it over the top, and then anybody else would not. I mean, it was just the perfect balance of physical comedy. I mean, he killed it.
Ray Lloyd, I'm going to bring this up. I know Dave loves this film as well, but Ray Lloyd, do I need to say any more than Caddyshack?
You know what? This tells you how big of a fan of Caddyshack I am. Is I'm not even a golfer, and I still love this movie. Yeah, so, I mean, and of course, Luther and I both, we're such huge fans of Rodney Dangerfield, and of course, I've watched the documentaries on this about where Rodney, when he first came on board, he literally didn't realize he was supposed to say his lines as lines as a character. He kept saying to the director when it was his first scene, he's like, "Oh, you want me to do the bit? You want me to do the bit now? You want me to do the bit?" I mean, he had just been a stand-up comedian, so to see him come in and really adapt to that world as an actor was really cool. And of course, Bill Murray, and the Murray family, who all are also in this movie. I mean, it's just it's a timeless movie. I mean, it's just it's funny every time I watch it. The lines that I know are coming are still funny because they're delivered well.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It still stands the test of time, Ray. It does. And it's some comments here from everybody. Tell the chef this is low-grade dog food from JC Farina. Hey, Whitey, I'll bet you $1,000 you slice into the woods. Park my car, get my bag. Somebody loves the film. I know, JC, you do, and so do we. Gus Anselmo, home to banish him back. That's from Beetlejuice, going back to Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton is such a great actor because not only can he do comedy, he's a good drama actor, and he did a couple of drama roles that were good, like Clean and Sober, of course. Gus Anselmo, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. That's Beetlejuice's line, of course. This is a great comment over here from Gus. Off the record, you guys should be commended for all you've done this year and helped so many get through the uncertain times within this world. That's from Gus Anselmo.
Thank you.
Yeah. Gus, I'm a firm believer in life is 90% of how you react to it. I mean, everybody's going through this, and but also I think back too. It's one of the things Evel Knievel used to always say is look for the positive, and no matter how negative things are, if you look for the positive, there's always some positive there. And the thing is too is we lost a lot of people this year, for COVID and various other things. But, a lot of us are still standing, and we have our health. We got our families. We've got hopefully a new year, opportunity to look forward to. And it's just sometimes it's easy to concentrate on the negative things that we've had to deal with. But the positive things, there's a lot of them out there if you just look for them and how we react to them. So for us, I know for David, me, and Avi, and the rest of the roster here, this 2021 is a very exciting time for us, and we hope everybody stays on board with us to help us enjoy and build this thing to the level where we feel like we can really take it.
You're right. Positivity prevails. And guys, right now we are averaging over 200,000 live viewers per show for the last 3 weeks. Keep it coming. Let's continue on. As we transition away right now from Caddyshack, we will delve into a film that David Holliday and I were speaking about on the phone, a film that not many people speak of. But let's see what happens here in Caddyshack. Of course, this is another scene that I love. And now, of course, this is... Well, I pulled this up.
The duty scene. The old Baby Ruth scene.
Who doesn't remember that? Yeah. Got the Jaws music in the background, of course. As this is happening. Of course, this is universal. I mean, this speaks to everybody. As we move on away from Caddyshack, we delve into a film called Funny Farm that not many people talked about, but David Holliday and I spoke about Funny Farm the other day. David Holliday.
Yeah, we were going through a list of films that I want to introduce to my 11-year-old son, and I've had a lot of fun bringing these up. And I was talking to Avi because he brought up Planes, Trains, and Automobiles during Thanksgiving, and my son absolutely loved it. And then we started talking about other ones, and this one came up the other day. Avi and I were talking, and I'm a Chevy Chase fan. This was a great memory for me when I was a kid when it came out. I can't wait to show this one with Michael. I think he's going to love it.
Ray, were you a Funny Farm guy?
You know what? I certainly remember watching it. It's been so long, I can't remember a lot of specifics. But once again, I go back to what I say when I'm training, our young guys and girls in wrestling here is, it's not our goal is to not so much make them remember specific things. It's to make them feel something. when they watch a performance. And this movie, when you just said Funny Farm, I just remembered I had a great time watching it, because of who was in it. And it made me laugh. It was something that was a good time. And so,
and of course, Ray,
for that
you're
alone,
a fan of the old SNL, he's Chevy Chase and you're not. So there you go.
Yeah. Listen, it's one of these films that you want to get together, get some mountain oysters together, get a big plate of those, and sit down and eat them and enjoy this film.
Yeah.
Love it. Funny Farm, guys. Definitely a film that should make it it's an underrated comedy from the 80s. Definitely an amazing film. And of course, Chevy Chase's physical comedy is on display in this film. And we delve into another film that's a classic, definitely not underrated, a movie that spawned a sequel. Didn't get a trilogy, but here we go. Are we still on Funny Farm? I believe we might still be on Funny Farm, but right now we're about to delve into Gremlins, the original Gremlins, 1984. First time we actually see Gizmo in this particular scene. Corey Feldman's in the back. Trust me there. Yeah. There we go. Dog's scared. Zach Galligan is scared. And of course, Gizmo, who was voiced by Howie Mandel.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. And so, I'm sure I just had forgotten it was Howie's voice. But, one of the things I love about the 80s movies, and this goes back to Beetlejuice and we saw earlier too, is the fact that and Caddyshack with the gopher there. I mean, they didn't have computer effects like they do now, so you had to really use stop action some and create animatronic puppets and things like that. So you had to kind of allow yourself to kind of be a little bit more creative with your imagination when you watch, and when they could take a puppet like this, and if you allow yourself to just go into that world of the movie and to think, wow, man, that's a cute little little creature of some kind, And
Wait, hold on, you telling me that wasn't really that wasn't a real animal, or?
Well, as far as
one of the best performances of the movie was Gizmo's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so a lot of.
I think Gizmo looks a little upset about what Ray just said. If you look at Gizmo's reaction, right?
It's all in the eyes, man. All in the eyes.
All in the eyes.
No, but there is. I agree.
Ray, that's a really good point. In the days of stop motion action and no CGI, they pulled it off really well. Holiday, I'm sorry.
No, I was saying I agree with Ray. Jim Henson and what he brought to that era, to all the movies, and George Lucas what he brought to with Star Wars. It was the birth of a lot of the stuff that was going to later become the CGI and things. But we definitely lost something with CGI, but
something more organic, perhaps. Is what
I mean, even going from Yoda's performance in Empire Strikes Back, and obviously the wonderful performance of Gizmo right here, and Gremlins, or Harry from Harry and the Hendersons with the regular costume. I mean, we believed these things when we watched them.
We did.
And in the 80s, we'd never seen anything like that prior. And
we want to suspend our disbelief. We want to.
Oh, sure. And I watched a documentary on Caddyshack recently where Kenny Loggins, they interviewed Kenny Loggins, and he was talking about that they're still, to this day, their biggest merchandise seller when they go to their concerts is the Chipmunk. Because he's saying that I'm all right, and that Chipmunk is still one of their biggest merchandise sellers at his concerts. I mean, just that kind of cheesy little chipmunk, puppet they use in that movie.
Are you a little creeped out, Ray, and David, that as we're speaking, Gizmo's still giving us the death stare as we speak?
Yeah.
It is.
Feel free to move on from that. So.
Kind of reminds me of like Tom Berenger in Platoon, like steely, like that steely glare.
Joel Bateman, I love the Ernest movies, love Gremlins, great movie. Anything with Phoebe Cates, sure, absolutely, agree there.
Yeah.
We will move on. Yeah, we'll move on from maybe Gizmo will get over it, maybe not. We'll move on right now to another clip from a movie that many people, when they watch this movie, if they were living in suburbia, they said they don't want to go to inner city schools. An amazing performance by Morgan Freeman on Lean on Me, guys.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What a powerful film. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a suite mate in junior college in South Carolina, James Scott, who played basketball for St. John's after he left our junior college. He actually attended this school, and I think he was an extra.
Did he really? Yeah.
Yeah, and this was my first introduction to Mr. Morgan Freeman here, I believe.
Was it your first? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Glory came after this, right?
Yes, it did. Yeah. And I just want to bring this up before I kick it over to Ray. As an educator, I got to tell you, when you watch a film like this, I've taught at inner city schools, even places like you want to talk about the East Bronx, I'll bring up some neighborhoods that people maybe aren't privy to. But a lot has changed, but a lot hasn't. What doesn't exactly change is the respect that you can command from students if you respect yourself. Students can pick up on that. Regardless if they're teens or not, they can pick up on the fact if you mean business, if you respect yourself, they'll respect you 9 out of 10 times. Unfortunately, a lot of